This outfit's ridiculous, but like I'm
I
trying.
love it.
I love it so much.
I'm gonna have to
I
take
like
this off.
dressing up, guys. It's so much fun.
It is fun. Yeah, I always costumes make everything better. Okay, so it's Joseph from Enneagrammer. If you don't know what Enneagrammer is, we are a team of 3, and it's Enneagram with a focus on typing accuracy, sharp distinctions, and no sugarcoating. If you like this video and you want more detailed content on the art of typing, head to enneagrammer.com and check out Dark Arts Academy or DAA, and we also offer typing services. So this is Princess Court, and I'm here with Alexandra and Akram, and I'll do it. Okay, so I'm a social sexual 461.
Okay, I am Alexandra. I am a social self-pres 9-wing-1.
I'm Akram. I'm a 7-wing 6, 9-wing 1, 3-wing whatever. I don't know what it is, and a social sexual.
I'm on the Big Hormone Enneagram podcast, and I also have my own YouTube channel and my website. They're both under Saturn Ruled 9. That's the number 9. And on the channel, I will do reality TV recaps where I'm discussing the different dynamics through an Enneagram lens. So that's been pretty fun. You guys can come check that out. I just finished up The Bachelor. Well, I haven't posted the finale yet, but I finished up The Bachelor. Next, I'll be moving on to Love is Blind. So if you guys want to join in on that, Saturn Ruled 9 on YouTube.
Oh, wait, you're doing Love is Blind. I'm excited for that. The new season is starting soon.
We can still do all of our stuff too, but I'm excited. Yeah, I'm pumped about it.
Yeah, we should do something on the new season. Okay, fantastic. So we are talking today. I know this is kind of sort of old news, but Akram and I, this is a show that we watch. Alexandra, you haven't seen it, but that's okay. So I'm like a huge Anne Rice fan. She just died, I think, last year anyway. But I've read a lot of her books. I've read the whole vampire series. They're very like underrated, honestly, as like, I mean, they're popular, but they're underrated as like literature. They're like really good books. They're very philosophical, and she is a self-pres sexual 694. So that's my jam. I love it. There's a show adaptation of the Interview or the Vampire series. It's mostly based on the book Interview with the Vampire. You know, show adaptations or any adaptation from a book when you love the book is always iffy because this is not the book, and that's like irritating because I love the book. But I did find that as a standalone show, this was a very, very well done show, and there's some stuff in it that was like really good and loyal to the book. Like the spirit of Anne Rice and the themes were very much present in the show. Like they didn't sugarcoat anything. They didn't kind of try to remove the sexual instinct from it. And I think like a standout, the Louis is nothing like the Louis in the book, but I like him. I don't have a problem with him. He's not the same Louis, but the Lestat, I mean, this is the guy. Perfect. Like this, it's perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah. I read the books. Yeah, I read the books in junior high. I read the Interview with the Vampire, and then I think I skipped straight to the Vampire Lestat. But yeah, I did read the books in high school. I was into the trashy Anita Blake series, those were like 30 books, and it became an orgy by the end. It was really weird. It was crazy. She was like 11 werewolf, fairies, vampires. It's really good. I recommend it.
Good. Okay. Louis in the book is like a 964. This Louis, the actor's like a 9-wing-8 DJ or something, maybe. I'm not sure. I can't help but coming out. I wouldn't say he's a DJ. Lestat is 7 City. And
7 City. Sexual social, maybe?
And that's what I would put him at sexual social.
Interesting.
And we're going to see like Anne Rice's, everything is very self-pres sexual. When you become vampires in this world, you're in her world, you're kind of like trapped in immortality, almost that self-pres sexual, like I can't, and you're like underground, like I can't get out of the earth, I'm dead forever sort of thing, which is very self-pres sexual. But the vampires themselves, I think, to me, are this manifestation of the sexual instinct, which I think we'll see in the clip where Lestat turns Louis. But let's watch Louis's confession first. Yeah.
It's so good.
If you haven't watched it, watch it. It's fantastic. Yeah, it's such a good show.
Just like
so
social self-pres. I see like the crucifix lit by candles, like into it. Let's do it.
So this is, I don't know the showrunner's type. The showrunner himself might be a 7. I can't remember. I saw a couple of interviews with him, but I don't remember. But Anne Rice, again, I think they got the imagery right. They did it. Self-pres sexual has this contra sort of flow into social self-pres. There's going to be a lot of social self-pres imagery. She's also a 6, so there's a lot of like, she grew up Catholic or Christian, and so there's a lot of playing with that and the antithesis of that in this imagery and confession and all of that, like guilt and all that stuff that happens there. So, okay, let's watch this. It's 2 minutes.
Let's do it.
Help me, please.
So, the context is that Louis is talking about Lestat. Lestat has been, he's still human right now, right? But Lestat has been courting him. And this is that,
This is after they consummated their relationship.
Oh, did they had sex at this point?
They had sex, and then something really bad happened afterward, and he's putting the two together, and obviously it's bringing up a lot of like Catholic guilt or whatever.
Okay, but he's still human, right? He hasn't changed yet here.
He's still
human, that's why I wanted to show this first. Okay, yeah. So he's talking about
the guy that's screaming behind the door.
Yeah.
That's Louis.
Okay.
Louis, yeah.
Okay, Louis. Okay. Yeah.
Is in New Orleans.
Calm down, son. Get your breath.
Bless me, Father, for I have sinned, grievously sinned.
Sign of the cross, son.
I'm a drunk, Lord. I'm a liar. I'm a thief, Lord. I profit off the miseries of other men, and I do it easy. Drugs, liquor, women. I lure them in and grab what they got, Lord. I take daughters with no homes, and I put them out on the street, Lord. And I lie to myself saying I'm giving them roof and food and dollar bills in their pocket, but I look in the mirror, I know what I am. The big man in the big house, stuffing cotton in my ears so I can't hear their cries. And Lord, I drag my family into this mess with me. I shamed my father. I failed my brother.
No, son.
I lost my mother and sister, and rather than fix it like a man should, Lord, I run like a coward. I run to the bottle. I run to the grift. I run to bad beds. I lay down with a man. I lay down with the devil. And he has roots in me. All his spindly roots in me. And I can't think nothing anymore but his voice and his words. Please, help me! I am weak! I want to die!
Okay.
Yes. It's a lot.
Woo! Okay.
Woo, that's very Catholic right away.
Yeah. Yes, very. So I don't know how I would personally type Louis. I don't think he's like a perfect Enneagram character, but certainly there's a 6 element in here that is showing up. Ikram, what did you want to say about this? Because you found this clip.
So I would type Louis if I had to. I keep on going back between 6 and 9. I'm really leaning more towards 6 because he's quite reactive, and he's like struggling with anxiety his entire life. And I kind of feel like he might even be whiny tears. But anyway,
the Louis from the book is certainly whiny tears. Yeah.
Yeah, the Louis from the book is even more withdrawn.
Yeah.
This one has a little bit of oomph to him.
Yeah.
Okay, and then so I want to say 2 things about the scene. So this felt like a super ego scene. He's gay, and he's in a time where that's not okay, obviously. And then but he really does love Lestat even at this point. They'd spend the entire winter and fall together. He had slowly fallen in love with him. He was seduced by Lestat. They had an amazing night. And before anything bad happened, he had already promised himself he would never go back, because to him, he felt that anything that came easy to him was like poison or something that would destroy him. So I felt like a little bit, and obviously this entire confession was a super ego. And then the second part I wanted to talk about was this also feels like sexual instinct, like infecting someone's life and like destroying them.
That's what I'm getting.
Cannot get away from him. Yeah. And all he thinks is about him, and it's destroying his entire building routine. That's what I got from this scene.
The main, so there's the obvious kind of like down on my knees 6 sort of like reminds me of that scene because I just watched it recently from Fleabag, and she's a 6'9" as well, where she's with, if anybody's seen that, she's in the second season, she's confessing to the priest and she's like, just tell me what to do, I just want to die, or I just don't want to live. Like she's basically saying like, I am done. The 6 point of view is like, I am so, it's like coming to terms with the insecurity of your own orientation.
Ability to make choices for yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ability. Yeah. Right. Yes. It's like, I can't make a choice. I don't know whether I'm good or bad. I've made bad choices. I can't come to terms with them. I don't know how to make good choices. I don't know what to do. And I'm so exhausted. It's like when the head center wires just get crossed into a knot and you're like, I need somebody to just like cut it. And
not trusting himself. Yeah,
exactly. And there's that sexual instinct built in where it's just like, take me, kill me, do anything that makes this stop kind of thing. But specifically the sexual instinct where he's talking about, Louis is, even in the book, I would say he's a sexual blind character. Like he's probably self-pres-social. Yes. He's very much about, he's talking to, I mean, just for context, he's talking about, not in the book, but in this, he owns brothels, so that's what he was talking about with women. He's a pimp.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but he's a pimp, but he's also, that's interesting. In the book, he was actually a slave owner because he's white in the book, and they changed it to him being a pimp, but being kind of like one of the only black men in this time, because this is in New Orleans, like, I don't know, in the 1800s or 1900s, I don't remember. It's different set.
Cool.
Being one of the only black people that actually has like money and, okay, whatever. Anyway, this is a whole new conversation. The sexual instinct, what's happening is that he is having this sexual blind spot tidal wave where something's infected him. This guy's gotten inside, done something to him. He can't get out. He's stuck in me. He's a disease. Get him out of me. I can't stop thinking about him. I can't. That is where sexual doms live 24/7.
Yes. And he's a very good self-pres social 6 in that he completely saved his family from financial ruin. And he had a lot of stress on him this entire series, the entire beginning of the series.
Very loyal to his family.
Very loyal, and it's him justifying his actions being a pimp because their father recently died, and so this is the first time you feel any of the guilt that because before you could kind of see it in his face where he was super defensive, and then he's obviously sick with grief and all this shit, and then he comes into this booth and you hear all of his real thoughts about himself. So I was like, it was a really revealing scene. It was very good.
Yeah, he's very, the actor is 9 Wing 8, so I can't help but get this gutty 9 Wing 8 confidence from his energy. But yeah, you're right. Like if I had to really type this guy, and it's not quite Bermuda, he's not quite Whiny Tears, but he's got core 6 stuff where it's almost like Anne Rice's voice talking. It's one of those things where you're doing things to save your family, but it's bad. And so you're like, what, am I a good person and am I a bad person because I had to do this to protect my people, but I'm actually hurting other people. And at the same time, he's feeling even more bad from that 6th place because now he's being infected by this other person.
Yeah.
And he wants to give into it because he loves him, like you said, and
Okay, so I have a question.
Yeah.
Is all of this guilt being spurred? Okay, so how do I want to ask this? How is his attraction to this other guy related to all of this guilt that's coming up? Like, did the attraction to this other guy spur up this like whole thing?
Yeah, it was like the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak, where he was already like this is what happens with sexual tidal wave, right? Self-pres social is like, I'm going along, I'm moving, I'm doing my thing, I got everything under control, and then something puts a crack down the center of your world. It's just like just slowly cracking apart, and that happened via Lestat as an instrument, who is again like a manifestation of sexual.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. Okay, then And so then my commentary on that is just like, without the blind spot, the stacking left by itself is just like the way you lie to yourself, right? So he's just been like, okay, I've been providing, and of course, anybody that's listening, keep in mind I've not watched the show, so I'm just kind of putting this together blindly. Yeah. But yeah, so the stacking is just like how you lie to yourself. And then once you get a taste of that blind spot, that's like really what puts into perspective, oh, this is what I've been aiming to do. And this is how I've been doing it wrong, right?
Yeah.
This is how I've been like missing the mark. This is how I've been like not behaving with like, I don't know how to say this, with like the full piece,
full
with
vision.
like there's like a third there's
Yes,
like the third
right.
intelligence that comes into play. Your sight gets really clear. So I think maybe that's what's happening to him, is like he gets a taste of this like really honest sexual attraction that he may have been actually actively avoiding up until that point. And so that's putting him into this crisis mode of like, oh my God, everything I've been doing has been misguided, has been like a misguided attempt to do what I feel like I need to do.
This is why I've said, in just like a side comment, I think that queer people sometimes have better access to their sexual blind spot because, and I've said this in they're like forced to. It doesn't mean that they're like, it's like necessarily nicely integrated, but it's like, you have to look at this now at a young age. You have to, whereas a lot of people can go through life just not looking at it,
Yeah. It's probably left that much more, left is not the right word, but it's probably that much more obvious too, because it's not like comfortably nested into society's norm, right?
Exactly.
So if it's like something that moves outside of that norm, then it's like, okay, what else could this possibly be? I can't justify this by saying like, I don't know, whatever excuse you could come up with.
Yeah. There's the, when we talked to the Barbie movie, we were talking about integrating, like, a line becomes a triangle, so to speak. And that's emblematic of everything in the Enneagram. Like in like the third eye, there's sort of like that third, there's positive, negative, and then that third thing. There's always this third thing that like blows everything up, and it's integrating it. So it's the same. You have a type, you're 9, 6, 3, and 3 is that third piece. You have your third instinct that's doing something that you're ignoring or whatever. So what's happening here is this explosive integration of that third thing that opens up a whole new field of vision.
Yeah.
And destabilizes.
Yes.
It's interesting because a triangle should be stable, but it never is. We don't use it like that. We don't use it like this. We use it, we're just like on one side of it, and then the other one is like, you know what I mean? It just totally. Yeah. I don't know what that sound was, but.
Yes. And vampirism itself can be looked at like as a metaphor for the sexual instinct, because what happens to them after they get, turned, they have to be, they're constantly in this conversation of life and death. Yeah. And life is more heightened, but they're also more dead inside, and they have to look at how destructive they are, but how alive they are at the same time. And, and also there's just like weird little things of like they could hear people's heartbeats and like see what people are attracted to and shit like that after they turn.
They can see, they can see more. One thing I like about in Anne Rice's books, which actually isn't present in this, and I mean, I understand why, but vampires don't actually have sex in the books. Because they cannot procreate, because they're dead, they cannot have any kind of sexual contact, but they have sex with their mouths. Like their whole, it's almost like their genitals die and their entire sexual instinct is now their whole being. All they are is sex. It's like the bite, the blood. It's like this swoon. And she describes it as like, it's pure sex. It's like this kind of like you go into it's the loss of self part of sexual where it's not like this is good, I'm vicious. It's like it's total very
sexual. Just drinking blood is erotic.
Yeah, and they pass it back and forth. They're swapping fluids. It's this like very intense kind of loss of self, and their whole sexual organ becomes, it's like their face, right? So it's like, I am the sexual instinct. They're really becoming it. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
This is the moment where Lestat.
Okay.
Yeah, he
the seven finally comes in.
The seven, yeah. So this is Lestat. This is the seven, sexual seven. He is. Sevens get whatever the fuck they want, and they destroy people's lives for fun. And this is sexual, so it's even worse. But he also is, again, like there's a lot more to this, but like he is absolutely in love with Louis too. Like he wants him, and he wants a vampire companion, but Louis doesn't want to be damned. And Lestat is a seven, so he's not having that same crisis of conscience. He's also older. He's dealt with a lot of this stuff, so he is just totally. The seduction part of the sexual instinct is going to come out here. So this is a 3-minute scene. Let's watch this.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, and then look at one part. Sorry, before it starts. Look out for frustration in the head. And destruction, and then finally ending at the very last moment, like future positivity is the engine running the whole thing.
Yeah. That's good.
God. Cool.
And that as a seduction strategy.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Okay.
I was gonna say really quick that like not wanting to be damned is a sexual blind thing. I'm sure it's like other types too, but like specifically damned, the damnation of the death and rebirth of the sexual instinct. It's going to be self-pres social and social self-pres that like don't want to be damned.
That's right. Well,
it's like the survival maintenance thing.
Le petit mort, orgasm is death, and sex is death.
Yeah.
And Lestat is saying, "I will kill you. You'll still live. You'll be changed, though."
My God.
It's just pure sexual instinct, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. I love this scene.
This primitive country has picked you clean. It has shackled you in permanent exile. Every room you enter, every hat you're forced to wear, the stern landlord, the deferential businessman, the loyal son, all these roles you conform to, and none of them your true nature. What rage you must feel as you choke on your sorrow. The first time I laid eyes on you, your beautiful face, I saw that sorrow. I did not know how it got there or why. It was so voluminous. I can take away that sorrow, Louis. I can give you that death you begged your feeble, blind, degenerate, non-existent God for. But I can do it. Joyfully. I can swap this life of shame. Swap it out for a dark gift and a power you can't begin to imagine. You just have to ask me for it. You just have to nod your beautiful head and say yes. I love you, Louis. You are loved. I send my love to you, and you send it back round to me. And this circle, this home we barely had a glimpse of. No, it frightens me as much as it does you.
It is difficult to explain how his words disarmed me, how efficiently succinct and impenetrable his argument was. All my conceptions, even my guilt and my wish to die, seemed utterly unimportant. And I completely forgot myself and the barbaric scene that surrounded me. For the first time in my life, I was seen.
Be my companion.
Oh my God.
Be all the beautiful things you are. And be them without apology. For all eternity.
Yay!
Oh, in front of a cross, beautiful.
To the very threshold of death.
And a few dead bodies.
Oh yeah, Lestat had just slaughtered the priest that he confessed to.
He literally punched the fucking head of the priest. It was like, pow!
So okay.
Oh my God. Okay, now I have to read the books and watch the show.
Oh, the books. I can't even recommend them enough. Like the books are so. I mean, it's just my favorite. I'm reading them again. I'm just finished reading The Vampire Lestat. Anyway, so I love this scene. The acting is out of this world, spectacular. Yeah, read them. They're so fucking good. I've read all of them. There's like 13 of them. Anyway.
Oh my God. Okay. All right.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff here. Lestat's definitely got a 3-2 area fix. Right? He's the lover. He's the come to me. I'm the Prince Charming. He's so charming and so devilish. And that's the way that he hurts people, is being like beautiful and deceiving them and then like killing them or whatever. And this whole thing is like extreme sexual instinct. This is such a good example of it, where Louis kind of like literally like absolutely on the verge of death and
Right, yes,
literal
surrender.
death and metaphorical death, and he's just like, I'll you. And we've said this a lot too, that like there's this kind of misnomer about the sexual instinct and like sexual aggression, that like it's sort of male or it's like rapey or whatever. No, the sexual instinct is like, you need to say yes, you need to ask me, and then I'll give it to you. It's like, you know what I mean? It's weird, but there's like actually consent in this scene.
Totally.
Yes.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's like based on attraction. So like if you're not attracted,
exactly.
it can't happen.
If you're not attracted, then we don't have anything. But he's like, I know you are, and I'm infecting you with it. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh God,
yes.
as a sexual blind watching
And
the
it was-
scene, I'm like, man, his face of terror, I understand it.
Yeah.
His face of just like, oh my God, I do want this, but I'm gonna die.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
And it's such a head type like sexual seduction, because what is he really doing for Louis right now? He's doing a 7 reframe. He's like, you think you're going to hell? You already are in hell, dude. You are in the fucking gutter.
Yeah.
Trust me. And you actually need to be mad instead of feeling guilty. And then
Oh my God, yeah.
so
His
he gets
comment
him
on
all
race was
frustrated.
like very hot as a 9.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yes. Yeah, so he gets him all frustrated, and then he so delicately gives him the offering of heaven. Of
Yes.
like, I can take it all away.
Yeah.
I'm not God, but I'm pretty close.
You
But
have to die. But if you think about it, that's what the Catholic God asks of you too, right? It's like, I had to kill my son Jesus. He dies. That's why they're in front of the cross, which is a very sexual instinct sacrifice. And we're getting a little whatever here, but it's true. I mean, that imagery is kind of a sexual blind manifestation. There's a lot of sexual blind tidal wave stuff that happens in Catholic imagery because there's so much sexual repression that there's a lot of this stuff's kind of spilling out, and they're doing it in front of this cross because it's the same thing. Your blood spilled is what's going to take us to heaven.
God, it's so hot. It's so true. They're really nailing it.
Louis is, like, again, like you said, Akram, I'm back and forth between 6 and 9. He's sort of like a hybrid. He's Anne Rice, like he's the 694. He's like all of those things kind of all together. But him just kind of sitting there looking at Lestat with his like eyes penetrating him and being like, this is the first time anybody's ever seen me, is like a super 9 fucking thing to say.
I was thinking that as well when I was watching. I was like, that's 9.
Just like I was closed, and now you just like, I'm naked in front of you because you actually finally saw me and everything that I've been hiding from myself. He didn't even see himself. So he's like, but Lestat came into my life and saw me, and even though he's about to kill me, it's better than living unseen.
You know what? I'm gonna change my final guess, and I'm gonna say he's a 9-wing-8, because I remember his introduction to the series is just him kind of being like a thug or whatever, like walking down the street, and that's how Lestat sees him, as like this guy. Yeah. He's a freaking gut king, but there's something very intensely vulnerable about him, and I think that's a secondary 6, and then just like core 9 at the end of the day.
Yeah, he's got more like I lean towards 9-wing-8, and he's probably 964. He's just got a little bit more, probably just from the actor or whatever, but he's just got a little bit more assertiveness than I would expect from that trifix. Like, it's not a perfect typing, but the themes of this are, and it is just really, their relationship is. There's a 6-7 relationship, that dynamic, but this is more of the 7-9 relationship dynamic, where this like positive, assertive force hits the introverted positive person who's just kind of like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, oh, you take me then, you know?
Okay, I have a few things. Okay, one, I totally see the like 9-7 thing that you guys were talking about. If the blonde, I don't know the name, Lestat, is that his name? The blonde guy? Okay, so if he's sexual social, the whole commentary of like, I'm not God, but I'm pretty close, and I could like solve your whole life, that is like very sexual social already. That is very like, I'm the answer, just transform with me. And then, okay, so there was one framing of like the 7 outlook is like, your life is kind of already shit, so let's do something about it. Like, let's like make it better, right? It's a frustration that things are not like as good as things can be. That's like frustration and positivity coming together. On the sexual blind mentality, Louis is his name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. His perspective on that, listening to that, is probably, it's very like this is like the sexual blind thing that they have to keep learning over and over again, is that life does stale, like it does become stagnant, and you have to like let it all go to restart again. So I think maybe what's happening from his perspective is like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna die, but like my life is, the sexual blind thing that you have to keep remembering is like, if you don't keep transforming, your life will die anyways, even if your like body doesn't do so. Even if you're like,
your
even
soul,
if
your
you're
spirit,
still there doing the motions, like it doesn't have any vitality anymore. So it seems like when the moment he receives Lestat is the moment where he's like, fuck it, you know what, I'm already dead, like let's do something different. Forget it. Like I'm gonna die, but I'm already dead. Is like a is like a sexual blind thing that they have to keep surrendering to and keep remembering and keep like revitalizing themselves through.
You see that in the middle of this, in the very beginning of the series, before this scene where him and Lestat are kind of courting or whatever. He doesn't realize that Lestat is like full on seducing him, but they go to shows and they talk all winter, and then he talks about like he's never felt so alive. That entire winter he was like, you never see him smile before he's with Lestat. He's like beaming, and then he'll come to tears and all this stuff, and you can just feel like. And I think Lestat, that's part of his like why he's so enamored with Louis, is because he does have this like sweet, like lively energy inside of him, and he himself is seduced by the fact that I'm the one who like can let that out in you, whatever. Anyway, so that's just an aside.
He earlier on, Lestat when he was human, was in love with this very Louis-like person named Nicolas, and then he ended up turning him, and Nicolas got so depressed and ended up dying. I don't know, there's a whole story, but Louis is almost like his replacement for that. But yeah, he is kind of aware of this like 7-3 impulsive, energetic destroyer, and he like wants this sort of opposite energy. And of course, like they have crazy chemistry, they're in love, they have amazing sex, they're killing each other, it's just like a full on abusive relationship with vampirism as a metaphor. And I love these books so much. I mean, Anne Rice gives me everything. She gets very contra, but it's like I get the 6-4 stem that I like need, and then I have this sexual instinct that honestly is not present in most literature, and for me I'm just like, this is what I want to read. I love it. But the show is good too, and if you don't read the books, just watch the show. It's fantastic.
Wait, watch the show, and it's on HBO Max, not to be a commercial, but it's on HBO Max until Halloween, so that's new.
Oh, yeah,
if you haven't watched the show.
Thank you.
So we're right on time.
Man. Yeah, perfect. As a sexual blind, that shit would work on me pretty immediately. That whole spiel that he did, be like, oh my God, that's terrifying, but let's do it.
It would work. It's just sexual in that moment. If you're really seduced in that moment, this is what sexual is. It's that kind of like, I don't exist anymore unless it's in this thing that we're doing here. That's all I am now. And it worked. And also, of course, Louis was already having a mental breakdown about his entire life.
Fucking life.
Yeah.
If you do end up watching the series, watch how Louis deals with this entire turning thing, because that, in my opinion, is just that's him like playing around with the idea of like, did I make the right choice letting sexual into my life?
Yeah, it's
because there's a lot of pain that it fucking introduces as well. So it's a very, very fucking.
This is not a happily ever after story. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not.
There's no joy in Anne Rice. I mean, it's just 4-fix. The 4-6 stem, just like a side note, has this amazing way of creating dramatic tragedy that I've never. It's just like the sort of almost Shakespearean. I don't know. Shakespeare might have had a 7-fix, but I still think it's a good example. But like the Romeo and Juliet thing, like, oh, if I had just drunk this poison a little bit later or something like that, if I'd waited, it's that kind of there's this, I always think about this amazing scene from Buffy, because Joss Whedon is 694 as well, where like Willow and Tara get back together and everything's fine. And then all of a sudden she gets shot through the window for an unrelated incident, somebody trying to kill somebody, and she just like falls and her blood splashes on this white shirt, and like Willow's holding her, and she's all of a sudden she's like going crazy into magic again, full sexual instinct explosion. She's like it's just kind of like God, like, you know what I mean? You're like, everything was fine. And then there's this kind of like perfect, it's almost the 6-4 is like, tragedy is inevitable. Even if you try to make things good, there's this way that things will just connect and make it so that they're not. And it's this kind of like, you know what I mean? I love that about.
Yeah. That is the opposite of 7-9. It's like fucking tragedy will strike, but you will be kissed by God and things will be okay.
Forget fantasy. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
But you'll be good. All right, so we've got a good polarity in this, just the three of us, where Joseph has the 4-6, like it, might be good for a moment, but get ready, it's coming for you again. Yeah. And we have 7-9 Enneagram that's like, but it'll be good again. And then I'm here playing neutral with both of you.
Neutral, yeah.
Yeah.
You're both right.
And it's both,
we better look to you if anything fucking bad happens. It's on you. We don't know what the fuck's going on.
No.
Oh my God.